welcome to The Social Show. My name is Virtual Luana. The Social Show is the only show that breaks down the latest stories coming out of your CSI, CSR and shared value industry. And I know with that comes a lot of anticipation. So I'm not going to talk too much. Let's get straight to the headlines.
Coming up on The Social Show, we run for good with Barron and the Reach for a Dream Foundation. IE Business School takes entrepreneurs from startup to scale up. Our game changer for this month actively works for a safer and better South Africa. We wrap up the show with an in-depth conversation on the role IT players have with the IDC.
For every team that enters the Barron Run for Good initiative, 150 goes straight to the Reach for a Dream Foundation. And I know it sounds a little bit small, but that money, when it comes together, does wonders for kids who have big dreams and just don't know where to start. And also, if you want a good collaboration story, we've got you.
A wise person once said, "Running shows us that life is not only about sharing the road with others, but it's also about sharing the depths of our interior lives with other human beings, while cheering them on to be the best they can be." And this was the aura that preceded the Barron Run for Good initiative. The run not only saw corporates unite and come together on the Midrand streets, but also saw a group of people come together to help children with life-threatening diseases.
So Barron is Africa's leading brand of corporate and promotional products. We've got a variety of products, and we are very socially conscious about the product and how they're manufactured and things like that. So we wanted to obviously get our brand out there. And because our products are used for mass participation, for getting brands out there, we decided to go with a run. But we didn't want to just have any old run. We wanted to do something that had a social responsibility angle to it. So we teamed up with Reach for a Dream, an amazing organization. I mean, it's their 30th anniversary this year, which is absolutely amazing, and happy birthday to them. They had their celebration 2 months ago. But, you know, they obviously do phenomenal work, particularly around children, and it was close to our heart. So this is the third iteration of this thing, and we're hoping that it's going to be done in the future.
So we partnered with Barron about 2 years ago, and we kind of met and sat together and thought, you know, we've got two amazing causes, why don't we team up and do something great for society? And we came up with the concept of raising funds while people actually, you know, get together and team build. So yeah, it kind of has grown now, bigger and bigger each year, but we're really proud of this partnership. You know, we're bringing people together and changing lives as well.
I mean, Reach for a Dream really is around raising funds to be able to fulfill the dreams of kids who've got debilitating diseases. And they do a variety of things. I mean, they've done some amazing stuff. I mean, everything from taking kids to Silverstone to go and meet Lewis Hamilton, but even simple dreams, you know, where a child, literally all they want to do is go shopping for new clothes for the first time. So really, what Reach for a Dream needs is, whilst we all want to just lend our hearts to them, they really need funds. So for every entry that's gone out here, a portion of the funds are going to be going to Reach for a Dream.
Yes, yeah. So we work with a number of kids, and we wanted to pick some children to almost be the face of this initiative, to represent all the children that we work with. So, I mean, we've worked with over 1,500 children a year, approximately, and to date, we're actually celebrating our 30th year anniversary. So we've worked with almost approximately 18,000 kids over the last 30 years, and through all our projects combined, we're impacting about 40,000 kids. So there are many children who are life-threatened and who have a dream, and we want to make that a reality. So, you know, those children were just a representation of the many lives that we're going to be impacting.
transition between scale-ups to startups means adapting to the rapidly changing global standards of the world. Now, this is exactly what IE Business School tried to do when they came to South Africa for their masterclass, helping local entrepreneurs transition from startups to scale-ups. Let's take a look.
For the past few decades, markets and investors have been focused on the startup environment, overlooking the fact that many such companies disappear over time. The struggle for survival is the defining feature of these organizations, whose primary objective after the initial capital raising stage is to adapt to a scalable business model. As most executives know, the failure to make this transition leads to the premature death of many startups.
So I think as a startup and embarking on be it a master or an executive program or a short program at IE, I think for me the main thing is plugging into the full IE ecosystem, and that would be firstly the network of professors that we have at IE. They are both academic professors, academically sound, but at the same time they also run their own businesses. And so from the event tonight, Joe Haslam he's a co-founder of 5 business ventures that have been successful in different areas of his career. And the second thing for me would be plugging into the IE community itself. And so we have students who come from all walks of life, and we also have quite a few students that come from family-owned businesses that are actually coming to IE to be trained to run their family businesses. So you're also plugging into people who have a legacy of running successful family businesses. And then lastly, I would just say it's the transformational journey of saying, you know what, I'm getting out of my comfort zone, I'm moving to Spain, be it for 2 weeks or be it for 1 year, depending on the program you choose, and really disrupting yourself, I would say. And so I think those are the 3 things that would be beneficial to be part of the IE ecosystem.
Well, the thing is that most companies that we know we know them not because they've started, but because they've scaled, and that you can have a much bigger impact if you scale. And I think also that a lot of the companies you'll have to compete against have a lot of advantages. And if you're small, you have no chance of competing. So the only chance you have of being successful is if you get to a much bigger size than perhaps previously was the case 10 years ago. Well, it's just that complexity means you're trying to do too many things, and if you're trying to do too many things, you can't do anything properly. As human beings, none of us wants to choose. We all want to try and have as many options as possible, but the truth is resources are limited, and the only way you have of having any possibility is to focus on the thing that you see that's working. That at least gives you a chance of succeeding. And if you don't and spread your resources across a number of things, you have almost no chance of succeeding.
So at IE, we have 5 graduate schools. We've got the business school, which is the oldest, which started in 1973. So that's really our DNA. And then we've got the School of Human Science and Technology. And so there you'll see programs like a Master in Big Data and Business Analytics, a Master in Cybersecurity. You'll see some marketing and communications programs. You also see some leadership and strategy programs coming out of that school. So when we talk about the School of Human Science and Technology, we talk about a school that is focused on careers of the future and looking at professionals that are going to participate in jobs of the future. Then we've got a law school, we've got a School of Architecture and Design, and that's where we have people who are in the creative space, be it interior design, architecture, any sort of construction and building and property, that want to start their own businesses and don't have that business acumen. And so we've designed programs specifically for them. And then lastly, we've got the School of Global and Public Affairs, where you have international relations, public policy. And so those are the main 5 areas in terms of our schools.
Well, what I'm thinking about is this idea that, again, there are about 20 or 30 things that all scale-up entrepreneurs seem to encounter. You know, what's your organization's culture? What kind of people should you hire? How should you finance your company? What kind of products should you have? And what my book does is it talks about the challenges you will encounter and talks about, you know, what people think about the way to get over these are. And I think that's a very useful way. What many entrepreneurs don't see is all of the things they're likely to come across across. They know, say, the product, and they only think of the happy best case. And then when they hear about things like what happens if people don't pay me, what happens if, like, natural disasters and these kind of things, I think it helps a lot if you can read books like mine that'll tell you in advance what problems you're likely to face, and then you can start to think about them and fix them before they become a bigger problem.
So it's just over 3 years old, Josie Hub. It's based here at 44 Stanley, which is a very cool design precinct in Johannesburg between both universities, UJ and WITS. And we are a space that really supports entrepreneurs as much as possible and the use of technology in developing new business. So we create a fertile environment that allows for office space, desk space, meeting rooms, great Wi-Fi, great coffee, all of the most important things, but with the added support and guidance and access to mentors and a number of events that we host here in our event space. So like tonight, we have speakers from all over the world and from the neighborhood down the road who are experts in what they do. So anything from accounting 101 to legal advice for startups, or just a hackathon to let creative juices and developers go wild.
This week is crime activist Mr. Yusuf Abrahamji. If he's not trying to catch perpetrators on the Namola app, he's also taking back the tax from the illegal trade of cigarettes. He's such an upstanding South African citizen, and that is why he's our game changer for this week.
With a successful history in the South African media landscape, social activism became the role that would eventually tie this talented anti-crime thought leader down. And this is just one of the reasons he has become our game changer.
Well, I think social activism is an important part of what we all should be doing. The National Development Plan of the South African government talks about active citizenry. You have to become an active citizen. I have to become an active citizen. The reality is crime affects every South African. With a murder rate of 57 people on average being killed, we are facing a major onslaught. What do? Do we put up our arms and say, take over our country? Do we allow these criminals to terrorize our people? We cannot. But having said that, we have to hold the police to account. We have to hold the law enforcement agencies to account. Whether it is the illegal cigarette trade, whether it is violent crime, we have to do that. But at the same time, I am of the view that we must become active citizens. Become a member of your neighborhood watch. Join your community police forum. We are quick to complain and condemn, and I don't say don't condemn them. The police very often are useless, right? But make sure that you hold them to account. So if the police give you bad service, go to the station commander. If he or she can't help you, go to the cluster commander. If he or she can't help you, go to the provincial commissioner. If he or she can't help you, go to the divisional commissioner. If he or she can't help you, go to the national commissioner. If they can't help you, go to the minister of police. If they can't help you, go to IPID. I'm saying to you, we have mechanisms. So yes, complain on Facebook, complain on Twitter. You can post a photograph of cops sleeping on Instagram, but we have to find solutions. When it comes to solutions, the time has now come for us to use technology to make South Africa safe. I was approached some years ago by Alan Craig Jr., who said, I have an idea. We know 10111 is a problem. You tried to call 10111 the emergency number. In fact, Trevor Noah the other day joked about it on Behind the Scenes, where he said maybe we must invite him to America to come and see, let him work on 911. When you phone 10111, that's the same reality. I had a problem myself on a number of occasions. They'll ask you for your name, where you are, where the crime took place, your nearest street corner. If they can't spell your name, they'll probably hang up the phone. 9 minutes or 8 minutes, it's gone. That is your life at risk. So this idea of Namola, which means, by the way, to get help, was born. All you do is you download the Namola Direct Safety app free of charge, and we guarantee you that within a few seconds you will get a call back. And if they don't give you a call back, you call me and I will make sure that call center operator gets fired. We have a 24-hour call center for any emergency. So whether it is a crime, whether it is a medical emergency, whether it is any other emergency, we will get the help to you fast through the various law enforcement agencies. Namola has about 215,000 users already. We are helping hundreds of people every day. The other day, there was a fire at a house in Cape Town. The person pressed the Namola app. Immediately, we got help out. The fire department came out and extinguished the fire. I can give you story after story. Now, that is for me solution-driven. So, my appeal to the viewers is download Namola. It's very simple. You register. It does away with hoax calls. And in an emergency, I'll show you very quickly what you do is you open your phone. There you have the Namola app, right? It will give you a button that you can press in case of an emergency. So let me just get rid of the previous one to say I had good service. I press the button, hold it in for a second or two. And as you can see, the message is now going to say, I'm in trouble. I don't want to send the cops to this particular office. I'm going to put test. And I don't want to alert my family, otherwise they'll get a heart attack. There we go. Hello? I'm testing the app. Thank you very much for coming back to me so quickly. Where am I now for intersect, ma'am?
It shows you are number 8, St. Michael's Lane, Price Center.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you for coming back to me. You can be assured that they didn't call me because I'm Yusuf Abramchi. I test you and I challenge you to test it every week, especially on Testing Tuesday, and see what service you get. Now, this service is available free of charge thanks to Dial Direct for sponsoring it. My message is we have to do something. Report crime. We know members of our families are involved in crime. Your neighbors are involved in crime. Your community members are involved in crime. People at your workplace are involved in crime. Why are we scared? Report them and make sure the law enforcement agencies act.
According to the IDC, IT professionals need to be more cognizant of the role they play in not only innovation, but in also driving the business forward. We got into a room with a number of IT specialists from all over South Africa, and we got the conversation started. And if you weren't there, you didn't miss a thing, because you're watching Social Show.
For every business innovation, there is an IT mandate that will go hand in hand with it. The IDC has discovered that the relationship between the IT department and the business strategy isn't always in the best form. So they got them all in one room and we were there for it all.
Sure. So we've seen now for many years there's this gap growing between IT practice and the business practice, and that leads to a lot of confrontations internally and a lot of conflict, and it's been widening more recently now that we have this very fast-moving generation of cloud services. So our advice to customers is look for ways to bridge that gap, look for ways to bring that back together. Both sides can benefit. It doesn't have to be one side winning and one side losing.
So I think it's very much a process-driven scenario. When it comes to the business will have certain requirements. So when you start talking about closing gaps, you got to start talking specifically about what those gaps are and how do we bridge them. The unfortunate reality of the situation is that there are gaps that are going to pop up everywhere. So what we do from a Huawei perspective is we have a lot of offerings that can assist in bridging gaps, closing holes, and extending services and capabilities outside of what most people would be used to. It's very much a consultative process. It's one about understanding each other so that you can better derive exactly what the requirements are from business and from Huawei, and then be able to go forward and be able to make those gaps smaller, less, and produce more effective results as you move forward.
As the saying goes, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. Second best time is today. So best time to start is now. You should have started many years ago, but if you haven't, do it. There are a lot of concerns here as we go through generations of technology that we're going to make previous generations of skills obsolete, that we're going to have mass retrenchments, that we don't have the skills available to fill, that we're going to have to go on massive education drives and so on. We look at a lot of organizations who have really big IT operations and a lot of headcount. We can see these changes coming a couple of years down the road. Yet the time to be looking at this stuff is now. Start to have a look at your teams, have a look at what skills are going to become important, have a look at how you can reskill and upskill, have a look at mentorship programs, have a look at running internships, bring in students, for example, do work experience, start to expose them to this kind of environment, start to produce those skills.
So one of the biggest problems that you typically tend to find is that people don't actually know what they have. They know they have something, but they don't know what it is. There are some prime examples of it's very much the tail wagging the dog. So you sit in a situation where you have to go in and you have to educate them about what they have in order for them to understand what they have. So it becomes quite a delicate process, because sometimes you might unearth stuff that they didn't know was there, and then they turn around and they say, "Wow, okay, and then finger pointing starts. So a consultation has to be a hand-holding process. It has to be done between two entities who are prepared to walk the path together and understand that there might be stumbles along the way. But the whole essence of the consultation is to make them understand what they have, which will obviously give you as a partner a better understanding from that perspective. So you will be able to derive solutions and capabilities that will best match what they have.
Alrighty folks, we've reached the end of the social show. I'm sad, you're sad, I know, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. If you want more information, you can go to www.social-tv.co.za. But for now, I'm out. Totsiens.
For more stories like these, go to www.social-tv.co.za. Subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on our social mediums.